Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us this morning. Like I just was telling people, we've got a lot of people that are out of town and at the shareholder summit, but I'll just keep letting people in as they trickle in here. Um, I changed out today's schedule, our setup, because we're going to finish up the reasons why to have a CPA set up your LLC and how to pay yourself as a W-2 and those entities that you need to put in place and how to file as an S Corp and all that. We'll do that later. I've been getting lots and lots of phone calls of people worried about the Fed hiking the rates and hiking again probably before the end of the summer, and all the fear mongering going on. So I just wanted to call George and get his opinion about it and let him show us some of the stuff that he sees. And anyway, George Baylooney, Silverton Mortgage, with the crazy background, Planet of the Apes background. Take it away, man. Tell me what you think, what it really means, because I see agents all over Facebook talking about market's going to crash, market's coming down, market's this, market's that. We're going to talk about data in a minute. I'm going to share some data points and how you guys can go about finding the data for yourself and for your exact market. But hit it, George. Tell us what you got.
All right, guys. Good to see everyone. What I have on the screen right here is what's called the mortgage-backed security candlestick chart. So it shows what interest rates do. This number over here, I hope you guys can see it. So like right here, I got my pointer at 104. So that's 104. So 100's par, 101 is 100 basis points, 200 basis points, 300, 400. This is last quarter. Let me go to year to date. So in January, this is where the rates started in January. So this is the mortgage-backed securities. Mortgages are basically bonds that they're bought and sold on the bond market. Right here, we were looking at almost 108 basis points is where they are. Today, or just earlier this week, it was down to 97. So it lost 1,100 basis points, which 50 basis points equates to about an eighth in rate. So 100 basis points is a quarter. So we've seen, so that's 1,100. So a quarter on 100. So 400's a point, 800's 2 points, 1,200's 3 points. So at the beginning of the year, we were probably at like 3.25, 3.5. Today, we're sitting around 6%. So the rates have almost doubled. I mean, it has just been a complete falling off the cliff kind of thing. The Fed met just recently. So one of the things that the Fed's trying to do, because part of the reason for all of this is inflation. And bonds hate inflation. And the more inflation, as you guys know, we just had an inflation number of like 8.5%. That just eats up people's buying power. It makes everything more expensive, and it makes bonds, which pays a dividend, lose their value. So the reason they're having to raise the rates is try to keep up with inflation.
So George, let's share the relationship between what the Feds do and the bonds, like you're talking about, in bonds and mortgages. I don't think everybody doesn't understand that mortgages are basically a type of a bond.
Yeah. So a bond is just basically debt, right? You can get bonds in 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, up to 30 years. And typically the mortgages that you're looking at, a 30-year mortgage is a 30-year bond. And they're taking it out. They're going to say this one's going to be at a certain percent, say 4.5% bond or 5% bond. And they sell that to the secondary market. And the people in the secondary market, when they buy a bond, expect to get that 5% return on their money every month. And that's how people use bonds. It's believe it or not, the bond market is like 3 times bigger than the stock market. There's so many bonds out there. I mean, 20, $30 trillion worth of bonds, just a ton of them. Some are government issues, some are corporate bonds. There's all sorts of different types of bonds. So what the Fed is doing to try to fight inflation is that they're raising what's called the Fed funds rate. There is not a direct correlation between what the Fed does and what mortgages do.
Everybody hear that?
So a lot of times
not
you hear
a direct
the Fed
correlation
raising
between
rates.
the two. It's just fear mongering.
Well, when people hear that the Fed's raising rates, they think, oh, wow, all the interest rates are going up, right? They raised it 0.75 of a point, which they did last week. And, that would mean if I was at 6%, now I'm at 6.75. That's not the case. Today, what I was going to show you, 53 basis points. You guys see that? It's in the green, which means the rates are actually getting better. So in the past several days, when the Fed announced that they're raising rates, mortgage rates have actually been getting better. The green means that it's going up higher. So we're getting closer to the higher amount. So the higher it goes in price, the lower the yields, meaning the lower the interest rate. So by the Fed raising rates, what they're trying to do is slow down the economy, potentially, hopefully not put us into a recession, but potentially put us into a recession where people are spending less money. And if they spend less money, there'll be less demand, which will slow down the price increases. Right now, there's too much money in the market, and people can bid on everything and run up the prices. And that's what we're seeing on literally everything from, housing supplies to gas to food. So that was their first, this was June that they raised it 75 basis points. July, the Fed meets again. They meet 10 times a year. Next month, they've already anticipated that they're going to raise the federal funds rate again, 0.75. So they're going very, very aggressively after inflation to really try to slow it down. Last year, if you guys remember, they kept talking about inflation. This is just transitory. This is just due to COVID. This is just due to this, supply chains. Now they're saying, all right, no longer is it transitory. It's truly here. And inflation is really, really bad. I mean, it's one of those things, if you don't get a hold of it, it can wipe out everyone's wealth. Things keep going up 10, 15% every year. I mean, before long, making $100 an hour will seem like nothing. It'll be like minimum wage. So they have to really get it under control. So that's what that's all about. Like I said, just recently, these are charts we look at every day. This is a 1-year view. It makes more sense to look at like a 90-day view. Things have started to flatten out a little bit. We had a little bit of a downturn at the beginning of June. This is when they first announced that the CPI came out with the inflation number that was so high. Literally, people crapped their pants. I mean, it was one of the worst days we've seen in the bond market. The rates probably jumped almost a point just in one or 2 days, which is unheard of. Even what we've seen since January to June is probably the fastest interest rates have ever risen. I was talking, this was back in May. They said if you bought a house last year in May to this year in May, just due to price appreciation, which is partially inflation, and interest rates going up, someone would be paying 40% more for that exact same house.
You guys can go into Strategy Real Estate Partners and watch a video that we did about what it cost to buy, I believe it was a $400,000 or $500,000 home, exactly the numbers in a spreadsheet of what it cost if you waited 6 months. I think we did that in February or March. So the cost of waiting 6 months for that was about, I think it was $729 or something in the payment. So it was substantial, the cost of waiting.
So yeah, I mean it's just crazy. So I mean a month later, from 40% it's out to like 50% more, which is just insane. So anyways, they announced inflation, say January 9th. The Fed was planning on only raising interest rates 0.5 point. They all sort of got forced to go up to 75. The markets liked it since then, so we're seeing better rates as a result. So the mortgage market's in really, really good shape. The amount of homes that are under, they look at how many homes with negative equity. It's very, very few. It's under 1 million now. I think it's like 300,000 or 400,000.
Okay, let me add something there too. So you guys know you have access to Remind. Most of you have access to Remind. You can go in or whatever your MLS is. You've got the same access to the tax records. We were playing in Remind the other day, and we pulled like, 11,000 properties and just getting a big chunk out of the market to look as a big sample. Over 50% of the properties, these are in Cherokee County, over 50% of them had more than 50% equity. That's crazy. There's so much money to be tapped into if somebody wanted to go pay off their cars or refi cash out and go pay off credit card bills or pay. So it's not recession proof. They're going to put us in a tailspin. They're going to put us in a recession. That's what the government is doing. But the people that have all this equity, they do have options. They don't have to go selling their houses. They do have options. I mean, we're helping a lady right now that's she's got $300,000 in her house, just sitting there, $350,000. I mean, there's people are everywhere.
Well, that's a great point. So there's a lot of equity. Our last recession we had, back in 2008, you guys probably remember that.
No one had any equity.
That was truly a housing recession. It was caused by housing. It inflated the economy, stated income loans. You could talk to appraisers. They would bump the values of homes. This time around, the mortgage industry and the housing market is in a very, very firm foundation. It's very, very steady, very There was a foreclosure number. The amount of foreclosures are almost non-existent. I think it's almost the lowest on record.
And the banks don't want them back.
Don't have an equity.
The banks, if you don't have equity in the house, the banks are doing everything to not foreclose. I've watched several properties. They just sit. The banks don't want those things back. Those assets, before they wanted the assets, they made money off of them. It's different now.
No, definitely so. So, you guys all know about the housing shortage, the millennials coming up. There was, just a lot of people. There's a huge demand for homes, and so I think everything I hear is that the housing market is going to remain strong probably throughout at least next year. New home sales, they're down a little bit from last year, but last year was a record high. This year it's on pace to be the second highest total ever on homes sold. The home builders are still building like crazy, at least everything I see. I do see it start to, when I say slow down, it's just not as crazy as it was at the beginning of the year. There's still multiple offers, but you're not seeing 10 or 20 offers. Maybe you're seeing 2 or 3 offers. You're not seeing people run the prices up like they have. I'm actually starting to see some contingencies come back, which is really nice, especially as a lender, we love contingencies. I'm sure you guys love them too. You hate going in there just, oh my God, if something happens, the earnest money's at risk. So that's good to see. There is more inventory coming on market. Daniel and I were talking about this earlier, but this is that time of year. Just every year around this time, you see more inventory come on market as people are trying to sell their house and move somewhere before the start of school. Overall, it still seems like it's healthy. From the mortgage side, last year was a record origination. We had a lot of refinances back then as well, with rates in the 2% range. Oh my God, hard to believe.
Look at George was talking about cycles, right? So everybody has access to this data. Let's do all sizes so that we don't manipulate any of it. And so, here you see, this is just in the back of your MLS, and you can go in and set whatever you want to, all the prices, categories, lock it down as tight as you want to or as loose as you want to. But this is all, it's just a cycle. We're just in the cycle of this, and more properties coming on the market. We're also in the cycle of right now, it's very typical to see price reductions. Obviously, more houses come on, go live, more prices get reduced. Then you add on it the news, fear-mongering, meat prices, beef going to $26 a pound. They're burning 47 chicken houses or whatever next week, or whatever they're saying they're doing. That stuff's everywhere. It's just scaring people to death. So they're not pulling the trigger and making decisions. But there's still divorces. There's still people getting married. There's still families growing, and there's still people moving. So don't buy into the hype. It's just the cycle.
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, from an origination standpoint, or at least a lot more people are paying cash, which I guess is good. But the housing market, or at least housing sales, should, I believe, end the year, if it keeps up the way it's going. It's probably the second highest on record for sales. I know most of the builders, they're trying to, it's usually supply chain that's causing them not to get more houses out. Waiting on cabinets, waiting on appliances, waiting on something. So
concrete. If you owned a concrete plant right now, you'd be a billionaire next week. But look at these numbers right here. This will tick down. This will go down, but this is the median percentage of the list price. So things will change. We will see this come back down, and it's all normal. So when you guys are listing properties, tell people we are in the shift. We are pivoting, and it's a little harder than normal because of the fear, but it's still not that abnormal. The thing that's abnormal is them increasing the Fed rate, which causes, it causes true inflation. They're trying to stop it, but they're, prices, gas prices, food, all that kind of stuff, housing, as far as like if you're going on vacation. I want to hear from you guys. What are y'all can play with this in your MLS systems. They've really updated a lot of it. But what do y'all see happening with your people? And maybe we can shed some light on it. Or I just want to know, I'm curious. There may not be anything wrong with it. Everybody go at once.
Well, I'm definitely seeing, this is Paula, I'm definitely seeing less traffic at my showings and less offers for sure, but I'm still seeing that one buyer that really wants to have the home, so they're offering over list. So there's always seems to be that one buyer. So it kind of goes along with what he has said about, it's still a seller's market, but it's just not as crazy as it was.
Do you have listings right now, Paula? What did you say? How many listings?
So they're all under contract. 4.
So are you seeing price reductions on the comps of those listings?
No, I have not on mine. One's a pocket listing, but I do see that I feel like the appraisers are trying to tighten down a little bit on the appraisals. They're not, they're getting a little bit more strict with it, just in the very few homes that I'm experiencing, but
Right.
they're still, they're trying, I feel like they're trying to, calm things down a little bit too. I could be wrong with that, but no, I don't see price reductions, in the price points that I'm in right now in my area.
I know I've got a couple of listings and we've had to reduce prices quite a bit, but it was more for, I believe it was more for lack of maintenance on the properties. So it's not really, it doesn't really tie into this right here. Anybody that came in would still have that. Price still rules everything. Rhea, you're there?
I'm here, Dan. Good morning.
What are you seeing in your market?
I still think it's crazy here. I mean, Miami, I don't know if, rentals are through the roof. I think just, everything that he said is correct. However, I mean, I'm on my MLS every day. I do see price reductions have been, there is more price reductions here.
Uh-huh.
But I think with the amount of people looking for homes from the Northeast, I mean, I'm currently working with 2 buyers from Massachusetts, millennials, up to 3 million. And they've given me their cousins, their aunts, and they're all selling and moving over here.
I think there's more. I think people have more money in their pocket right now than they've had in a long time. I mean, I completely agree. I think they have more access to it than they've had in a long time. It's not just, $100 is worth $50 now because of inflation. $100 might be worth $80 now because of inflation, but they still have the $80 that they didn't have 5-6 years ago.
Correct. I mean, I think there'll always be buyers. I think they try to scare us, with that, with the inflation and the interest rates. But, my parents bought houses with 15% back in the 80s. So, this isn't that bad.
One of the things, historically, the 30-year fixed comes in about 7 3/4. So if you're thinking about it, we're still even lower than average. It's just that when you're at 2 and 3% for so long,
correct.
People are about to have heart attacks, and there is a payment shock. But historically, it's still not bad. The first house I ever bought was 8 1/4, and I remember coming back to the office and people were tapping me on my back. Oh my God, that's a great rate, George. You did so good.
Right?
So
yeah, people get scared.
How do we capitalize on this? How do we capitalize on the fear? Like, how do we capitalize on those that are making a move? What's our strategy? One for me would be concentrate on sellers, concentrate on listings. That would be mine, but that's not always. I don't know. As price reductions start to hit and contracts maybe fall out, maybe you start looking a little bit more at buyers. I don't know. It's just kind of a personal choice.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I think one thing you can concentrate is on sellers and the fact that we're in a transition market and they may see price decreases. And if they want to max out what they're getting on their house, now's the time to put their house on the market. If they're thinking of making a move, they need to do it now.
What do you do to help the people that are, scared about having to go make a move? Or is it just like what I'm doing is a numbers game? I'm just connecting with more people than I ever have before through text and email and phone calls than I ever have. And, 1 out of 500 raises their hand and says, a parent just passed away or sibling passed away and now we're responsible for the house. What can you do to help us with it? And it used to be more of a 1 to maybe 1 to 10, 1 to 20. Now it's like 1 to 500. But it's got to be that right person to connect with. And it's just a lot of people. And the new construction game has been a nightmare because trying to build houses, prices gone up. We've actually had several sellers, builders bail out after 9 months of being under contract. I mean, it's been bonkers. So you got to have to pick and choose what you want to go to. But I think the strategy is it's still a connection business and connect to more people. That's always the secret sauce is connect to more, help more, nurture more, put more in the hopper, and pick and choose who you can help. Some you can't help. But there are going to be a lot of people that are, I'd say probably 3 sales that I've had this year are people that are moving in with their daughters or sons. Older people that are moving in with their families. So they're like, yeah, let's get rid of the house and cash out, put $300,000 in our pocket. Stay off the news media. That's my biggest advice. And also, if the one that learns, earns. So if I go back and share this screen, wherever I was a minute ago, here we are. The one that can rattle off with a random stranger these statistics that can go in here and play with numbers, pick townhouses. I know Tarek was big into looking at townhouses and listing those before and doing really well with it. Go and pick what you want to pick and just learn a little bit of that and just kind of look at it. It doesn't change overnight. So once you kind of learn it and start the process, it just slowly makes little changes. Look at the age of properties and rattle. The more you can rattle this stuff off, dollar volume, sales volume, days on market, pending versus actually closed prices, those things, new listings, price reductions, this will earn you more business because other real estate agents just ain't in business. They're not business minded, they're not numbers minded, and they're not talking like this. And once you drop the word absorption rate on somebody, it's done. You close it. But then you got to know how to do the absorption rate.
Are you sharing your screen, Daniel?
Oh, I was.
Because I think I'm still looking at George's.
George, get off my computer.
All right. Hey, one last thing before I get off, I just want to let you guys know, if you ever watched the 10-year ARM, the 10-year Treasury, this basically will follow mortgage-backed securities pretty good. It's not direct correlation, but if you see the pricing go up, rates are getting worse. If you see it go down, rates are getting better. So they're inversely, but it's an easy tool if you guys are sitting around shopping just wondering the direction of interest rates. So you see we're now up to like 320, 330. It almost broke 350 earlier last week, which would have been, I wouldn't say anything's all-time high, but.
Or you can just send George a text because he nerds out on this stuff. He's watching this stuff all day.
Now here's what it's done since January. You just see it, direct line, so that's almost.
Am I still on your screen or what?
Yes.
All right, I'm unsharing. Let me stop sharing.
I thought you were about to
There it
show
is.
All right, so y'all see my stuff now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, this is what I was talking about, cycles. We're professionals at this. We're professional home sales people, not Zoom runners. But anyway, dollar value, pending sales, price per square foot. You guys rattle it. I mean, it's right here in front of you. Days on market. I don't even know. Show per listing. I didn't even know they had something like that. But months supply. I mean, look at this right here. Woo-wee. I just want you to go and play with it and look at it, whatever it is in your market, so that you can rattle these, just rattle some numbers off to people and they go, gosh, they're professional. They know what they're talking about. You guys get the listing and sell it.
Where did you go, Daniel?
Oh, well, so if you go, let's go back out completely. If you go into just market stats right here,
Thank you.
products, market stats, and FMLS. Every MLS has this stuff.
Got it.
This is all new. I mean, this is like all redone and got a new look, but it's still the same information. It's been there for years and years.
Daniel, up at the top part, you can put in your filters for county or zip code.
Yes, you can tighten it down as much as you want to. And if you're an expert, like Paula's an expert in a kind of a tight area, I mean, that's the way you win it, is being the local expert. This is still a connection business. Zillow ain't taking your job, people.
You're giving it away?
Giving away your job?
Yeah, if you ain't doing this.
Yeah, Zillow ain't doing it. This is still about calling and connecting to more people. But you can go through here to do, and you can also select it, tighten it down, and just send yourself an email of it. Send yourself a little tear sheet or whatever they call it, and it just come out and you just look at it every morning. Just take a little look at it. Don't do too much though. Don't tighten it down too much because you're going to be talking to people in general areas. Everything goes in cycles. Look at that, it's crazy. All right, anybody have any questions for me? Want me to hang out? George, I appreciate you. Come over and see my new concrete. It's impressive.
Hey guys, just one last thing. We just came out with a new product, and you guys are probably going to see a lot of new products coming out. FHA with a forgivable second, so very similar to like a Georgia Dream. So you go 96.5 on the first and up to 5% on the second. They do not have to be first-time home buyers. There's no market cap or income cap. I mean, up to $500,000. If they keep the second, or they keep the house for 5 years and no late payments, the second's forgivable. So it's a pretty cool product. It's something that we have, at least right now. Maybe other people have in the future, but we just rolled it out at the beginning of June. Daniel, I sent you a flyer on it. If you want to share that, that'd be awesome. If you guys have any questions on any of that kind of stuff, be happy to help you all. So.
George, you guys had
It's basically.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Is that basically like a down payment assistance?
It is. Yep, it's definitely a down payment assistance. So it's
okay.
Nice thing, it's something we keep totally in-house. So it's not like with a Georgia Dream where you then have to send the whole file over to Georgia Dream and hope they look at the file the same way you did.
George, I've got a quick question. I was mentioned, or you
got
were
it.
mentioned in maybe doing new construction?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a construction perm loan. So you can have just raw land. You can buy the land with the loan, or you can. It could be a rehab. It could be a total tear down. It could be a partial tear down. Whatever you want to do. But it's a one-time closing, which makes it nice. You lock in your rate when you close. That's the rate you'll have through the entire process. When you go to modify it, so there's just a modification when you go from the construction piece to the permanent. And when that happens, you have a one-time chance to float it down. So if you lock in the higher rates that are out there today, when it does modify, you'll be potentially you could really drop the rate and rates get better here in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's brand new construction, or it's even rehab. So if somebody's buying a house and it's just not nice, you can use these rehab loans with that as well. So
Now, with the rehab part of this, is this like how extensive of this rehab can it be? Is this like a roof and an HVAC unit?
Anything you want.
Down.
Literally, you could tear it down and start over, or you could just add it in addition. You could add a new roof if you want to do something small. Generally, rehabs, you probably want to do at least $25,000, $30,000 worth of work to do one, because there are a lot more work to do. You got to get the plans and the specs up front, or at least what you're going to do. And there's just a lot more work to it. So if you're just wanting to add carpet, I would suggest buy the house and finance the carpet with a carpet company.
You guys know another thing that we've got in this time that we've never really had before is, I don't know how many of these companies are out there, but these will buy you a house company like DV, Home Partners of America. I'm doing 2 deals through them right now. There are so many of these companies that, so if you like look and target, say, divorcing couples, maybe they're not ready to buy another house yet, or maybe they want to lock in their rents. The rental rates, on what I've seen, only go up like $100 a year. Now it's like $2,500, $3,000 a month rents. They're standard rents, but they only go up like another $100 per month every year. So they have 5 years to close those properties out. So if they have a little bit of a credit issue, or if they're just not sure, or they want to stay for a short time and like until the kid gets out of high school or something, these are programs that we didn't have in the past, where you could just go get a $500,000 house bought for somebody. So, and you still get paid your regular commission on it when it closes, not down the road when they close on it. So if you look at programs like that, and you can help more people like that, you will increase your transactions during this market time when everybody is kind of afraid to pull the trigger, because they pay the rent. They pay a little money up front. They pay the rent. They can get out of those. They can exit out if they meet somebody else, or move, or get a new job, or whatever. And they only qualify one time for these things. So they qualify for it, and then they have 60, 90 days to pull the trigger on buying a house before they get qualified again. So all you have to do is identify the house, and it's not tied to them selling a house or a spouse selling a house or anything else. They have some really lenient programs. I don't know if y'all are doing those or not, but if you want to be in this business, definitely look into those, because they are a great arrow to have in the quiver. All right, what time is it? 10:33. We're 3 minutes over. George, are you looking for something else to share?
No, just writing down some emails to send out. So.
Oh, he's working. Are you working? Come on, man.
I'm working.
All right.
Hey, guys.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to stay on for just a minute. If anybody wants to hang out and ask me any questions, it will not be recorded. So this will be, and then I'm going to stop it right now. Thanks, George. I'll talk to you in a minute.
See you, buddy.
Thanks.
I'll be sharing insightful and informative videos on stress-free retirement, being your own bank, setting up college funds, understanding Social Security, wills, probate, trust, and how the Fed Reserve rate hikes affect your mortgage rates. And always real estate solutions. I'm your go-to expert in real property. Look for my YouTube channel, living in Canton, Georgia, where it is sunny as can be right now. If you find value here, please like and share so others might as well. Remember, I'm not a videographer, not a video editor. I just want to share the most important info with you guys. Each video has a full version of around half hour or so, but there are multiple shorts of only 5 minutes or less as well. My name, Daniel Klopfelter. My area of specialty is real estate and asset protection for more than 25 years. So why am I exhorting you to view financial-based videos on a real estate channel? Good question. I believe that we all do better when we know better, which is why I'm here to expose you to a team of experts who know the topics that matter most. All of these topics work in unison. Full disclosure, I receive nothing for doing these videos other than the satisfaction of adding value to you. So smash that like button already. What are you waiting for? Share this so other people can see it.
Y'all have a great day.
Buddy.
Thank